Okay, I think I'll get started. See, make sure everyone's cameras are on. Well, hello, good morning or afternoon or evening, depending on which part of the world you're in. My name is Clay Smith. I am the co-founder of Akita. Akita is a customer success management platform, which, among other things, helps you segment your customer base. Um, Today, we're going to discuss why you might want to segment your customer base, identify some specific segments you might create, and show you how to build them in a customer success management platform like Akita. We will jump into Akita a few times in the next 30 minutes, but just to show you how to build some of these specific segments. But this workshop should be useful, hopefully, whether you use Akita, a different customer success management platform, Microsoft Excel, or nothing at all. It would be impossible to show you the infinite number of different types of segments you could create, but we'll show you a few. Hopefully, we'll show you enough to give you some ideas you can take back to work and put to good use. So we'll make the slides and video available after the call. We'll send an email out. And if you have any questions, the chat little widget window is open in the bottom right. You can add your questions, and my colleague Barry might answer them live, or we have plenty of time after the 30 minutes to answer a few questions if you want to stick around, or we will answer them via email. So the first sort of question is, why would you segment your customer base? And ultimately, this is business, and at the end of the day, the answer to most business questions is to make more money. That's a bit boring, so it's better if we work backwards from there. So there are three ways that you can profit from your existing customer base. You can stop them from churning, stop them from leaving your company. You can sell existing customers more things, or you can take your existing customers and leverage them to help acquire new customers. But doing these things it's not easy. It's easier said than done. It can be very time consuming and very expensive. And this is where segments start to come in. So segments allow you to do these three things in a time and cost-effective manner by focusing on the right customer at the right time. For instance, if you want to prevent your customers from churning and do it efficiently, you're going to need to focus on those customers who are not getting enough value from your product. So who are those customers? Segments will give you the answer. You just have to ask the right question. And so if you want to know who isn't getting value from your product, you might ask which customers have 0 sessions in the last 2 weeks, who is not using your product. Now in Akita, we'll jump into Akita. You would filter your accounts based on session. So this is your general account view in Akita. It shows you all of your accounts unfiltered. So to see a view of sessions, a filter of sessions segment, you would go to Web Usage Metrics, Web Sessions, and Session Count. So you might want to create a session count that shows you how many have 0 sessions in the last 2 weeks, we'll call it. And that will take your entire customer base and hopefully bring it down to a more manageable list of accounts. Here you go. Here's looks like 10 or so specific accounts who have 0 sessions in the last 2 weeks. You might also filter on a decrease in usage. Create a segment where showing accounts who have used, 25% less segments in the last 30 days. And there are more segments related to sessions that you can also use. So daily active users, and monthly active users. Those are all variations on segments, or on sessions. And again, so if you want to know who isn't getting value from your product, you might ask which customers are not completing a specific task in your product or service that delivers value. And to get that answer, you'll want to segment your customers by event count. So we have this imaginary company called Help Desk Pros that sells help desk software. And that company wants its customers to be closing tickets. So again, I'll jump into Akita. In Akita, you would filter by, again, event count. So you go to web usage metrics, events, occurrence of an event, easy for me to say. And we would look for tickets closed, and we might want to see those that have closed 0 tickets in the last 30 days. And again, it's just showing us those accounts or those customers that aren't getting enough value from our product and are at risk of churn, and letting us do our job more efficiently. So again, this is culled down list of our accounts. Now we can focus on those accounts that need attention now. So again, we want to find out who isn't getting value from your product. You might ask, which customers have a low health score? And to get that answer, you're going to want to segment your customers by health score. In Akita, you can build your own customer health scores based on whichever metrics you want. They can be standard based on segments and events, or sessions and events, or based on bespoke metrics specific to your company. But if you want to see who isn't getting value from your product, you could filter where show me the accounts with a health score below a certain point. You can view that change over time. So show me my accounts who were healthy, but who are trending downward. Or you can use what we call a percent rank. So you can focus on the 25% of your accounts with the lowest health score. Now, okay, you want to know who isn't getting value from your product. So you might ask which customers' metrics are improving or declining. So create a segment whose KPIs are heading in the wrong direction. Now, for our imaginary help desk company, we track the number of tickets they have created all time. We like that number to keep going up. So what we would want to do is build a segment that shows us which customers have created 0 new tickets in the last 7 days. Now, these metrics are just tracking numbers over time. So depending on what your company does, they're going to be completely different values for you, completely different metrics. But we track MRR and NPS and health score and those sort of standard traits automatically. But tracked metrics are up to you. You decide what's important. So coming back to our 3 things, the second way that you can make more money from your existing customer base is to sell more stuff to your existing customers. And to do this more efficiently, you really need to be able to focus on those customers that would get more value from more of your product. And so you might ask which customers are currently using all or most of their licenses available to them. And to get that answer, you'll want to segment based on monthly active users, which I mentioned before, or more specifically, what we call license utilization, which is a formula which takes the number of monthly active users, and divides that by the licenses they have available to them. So if you've sold 10, they're using 5 in a month, that's 50%. And I'll jump into Akita just to show you. I'll clear this out. And MAU, or monthly active users, is listed in the web usage metrics. monthly active users, and here's that formula, monthly active users
You're not showing
divided by,
sorry.
oh, sorry, thanks, Barry, wrong tab. So we'll go back here. Monthly active users is under web usage metrics, monthly active users, and monthly active users divided by active users. And that's that value we have for license utilization. So why don't we show where that number is greater than 75? So that'll take our entire customer base, segment it down to a more usable list of accounts. So here we have almost 2 pages of accounts that are using more than 75% of what they're paying for. And that shows you, these are customers that are bumping up against the limits of their plan and might be willing to buy more. Stay on the right tab, so there we go. Again, you want to know which customers would benefit from an upsell or cross-sell or account expansion. So you might want to ask which customers are viewing specific pages in your site, like upgrade your account. And to get the answer, you can create a segment based on page views. So it is very useful to say, which of your customers have viewed the upgrade my plan page, because this is a clear indication that it's in the back of their mind. They're at least thinking about it, seeing what's available. And it gives you a smaller subset of your customers to focus on when you're talking about expansion. Again, you're looking for customers to focus on who benefit from more of your product. You might ask which customers have attempted to use features that they don't have in their plan. And to answer this question, you could create a segment based on events. And I've shown you events, but what you would need to do is create an event that says feature not available. So if they're browsing your site and they click on a link, to a specific feature, it pops up and says, sorry, this is only available with the enterprise plan. That triggers an event. Then you build a segment on that event, and you can see which accounts, again, they're bumping up against the limits of their plan, indicating they would get more value from more of your product. And the third reason, or third way that you can make more money in your existing customer base is to leverage those existing relationships to land new business. And to do that, you'll want to focus on those customers that are most likely to provide a good review on G2 Crowd or one of the other directories, or perhaps provide a referral, that a potential customer might contact to help in the sales process. So if you want to focus on those specific customers, you might ask which customers love our product. And to get that answer, you're going to segment on Net Promoter Score, or NPS. And I'll show you that. And we're actually going to, for this one, we are going to create a filter on contacts. So like the accounts tab, this is your contacts tab. It shows you all of the different contacts or users in Akita. And so we would create a filter. In this case, I'm going to go to surveys and voice of the customer, find NPS. And for this, we're going to look for promoters. So these are our users who've given us a 9 or a 10. Most of you probably know NPS is on a scale of 0 to 10. How likely are you to recommend this to a friend? We're only looking for 9s and 10s. So greater than or equal to 9. And so there you go. That gives us, we have 2 contacts. We'd like that number to be higher, but we've got 2 NPS promoters in our fictional help desk software product. And these 2 people are certainly the most likely to provide a recommendation should we need one. Back. Again, you're looking for those reviews and referrals. So you might ask which customer literally told you to your face or over the phone that they like your product. And to answer this question, we're going to segment based on what we call the CSM score. And a CSM score in Akita, it goes by different names in different platforms, but it's just a red, yellow, green indicator, smiley face, frowny face. It's an indicator of what your CSM thinks the relationship of the customer is like. So if they get on a call with the customer says, we're delighted. Your CSM in Akita should go say, okay, it's green, things are great. They just told me they love the product and they're going to renew. So in Akita, again, you could filter on, I won't jump back in, but you could filter on, show me all of my accounts with a CSM score of 3 or good. And specifically, I could drill down further and say, just show me those with a score of, good that was submitted, in the last 7 days. So I know that's fresh. I'm going to pause here because we've gone through and we've created a lot of segments, but none of us are any richer. And that's because segments themselves are basically useless. It's what you do with these segments and how you put them into action that's going to make the actual money from those 3 things. So, in your customer success platform or just your organization, you need to take that segment and then do something useful. So you might create an alert when an account enters a segment. So take that segment we created that says a user has visited our upgrade page. You create a notification so you know when someone visits that upgrade page, or better yet, have your sales team get a notification when someone visits that page, and a well-timed phone call at that point might encourage the customer to upgrade. Better yet, what you could do is take that segment and use it to trigger a automation, or what we call playbooks in Akita. And these could be a series of tasks or a series of messages that get sent automatically. So you could build a segment that looks for customers whose NPS has recently dropped. You could use that segment to trigger a playbook, call it at-risk customer, and that playbook could assign a task to a CSM to call the customer and figure out, why that customer is currently unhappy, what caused it, what can we do to remedy it to prevent future churn. So I've shown you some segments, and they've all been pretty simple. It's one question, one segment based on one filter. But in reality, things get more complicated and you need to be even more intelligent. You're going to want to apply logical groupings of things. So ands and ors, you might say which customers have signed up in the last 30 days and have a status of active, or completely separate of those two, any account that's on a paid trial. So, you need to be able to build these and or logics and groups, and in order to further refine your segments, which is going to give you better focus and make you more efficient. A good example is I have 100 customers. 20 of them are showing, signs of low health. Well, I'm going to add an additional filter on revenue. So I can not just focus on the ones with low health, but I can focus on ones that also are of the most value to our company. But in addition to revenue, there's a huge amount of different account traits you'll want to segment on. The account history, when they started, when their renewal date is coming up, their subscription, that date could be in either. How much are they paying us? How many licenses? Some more of those bespoke traits that are specific to your company. Depending on what your company does, you're going to want to track completely different KPIs and metrics. Their generic company attributes, when they were founded, how many employees, what their annual revenue is. That might show you which are the better upsell candidates. If they're growing, that might be the subset of customers you want to target for upsells. There are a history of interaction. So when was our last conversation? When was their last NPS survey submitted? When was their last ticket created? And then voice of customer and health I've grouped in here, but are they what is their NPS score? What's their CSAT score? What score has your customer success manager provided? And most of these, I'll just jump into Akita and I'll clear these out. I'll just show you some of the very quickly without actually segmenting creating the segment, but show you some of the filters available. So in revenue, we track currency, customer start date, end date. There's that active license count. What are they paying? How many licenses are they paying for us? MRR, change in MRR over time. Some of those tracked metrics, tickets closed and created. Who are they assigned to? Who is the CSM for this account? There are loads of things, and they really are useful when you want to take a big list, make it even smaller to make yourself more efficient. So back here, and this data comes from a lot of different places. A lot of the most valuable data is actually stored in your system, and it's specific to your company. So to get that data into a customer success management platform, typically you would use our REST API and push that data in, or put in a JavaScript tracking code into your application, which is going to send us data about how your accounts or your customers are using your application and what they're clicking on, what their page views are on. Now, then there's data that your CSM physically gathers, that gathers on phone calls and needs to enter manually into your system. We have standard traits like when the renewal date is, or what their MRR is, that CSM score. And then there's custom traits. Again, every company's different. You can create custom fields, which you can then segment on in Akita to further refine those lists. And then when things get really powerful in customer success tools is when you connect your third-party application. So you can pull in data from your sales team by connecting your CRM, your customer support department by connecting your help desk system like Zendesk. It's great to pull in conversations in a key, like from Intercom, just so you have instant access to that information, or a data warehouse if you have it. Lots more data points about your different accounts that you can further refine these segments. And different types of data have different filters you need to apply. So there are dates, and you might filter by a specific date. That I want to see a segment of all of my accounts created after our new app launched last May, or I want to see base it on a relative date. So I'm going to see everyone within 90 days of the renewal date or 30 days after they signed up. So dates are really powerful, and there's a lot of sort of flexibility in what you can filter, how you can filter them. Numbers, currencies, and percentages, you're typically looking at equals, greater than, or less to. Strings or text, you're typically just searching a search field. So you might search where the account plan name is enterprise or professional. And Boolean, true, false things, pretty self-explanatory. Create a segment of all of my accounts that are currently active or have opted out from emails. So that is the sort of the end. What matters is that you have all of this customer data in one place, and that you can segment your customers based on behavior, based on their history, and based on their traits. And that's going to let you build these powerful segments. It's going to give you the ability to focus on the right customer at the right time, which is going to let you efficiently and effectively do things like reduce churn, to increase revenue from your existing customers, and to leverage your existing relationships to help your sales team land new deals, which is going to make you and everyone around you fantastically wealthy.